me let him know that we will be live when he enters. Oh, here he is. So, Nikki, I know you can hear me. I can't hear you, but we're already live.
Do you want some breath? Do you want to breathe?
Do I want? Hey, what's up, Glynne Rae? Hey, let me get the screen right. What's going on?
Do you want to breathe? Do you want a breather?
Do I want a breather?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to breathe? Take a breath.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me check the sound. And how you doing, brother?
Good, thank you. Pretty good.
You've been putting out a lot of gold, I see, man. In the post. Hello, yeah. Glynne Rae.
Hi, Todd.
How are you doing?
Up to you and to Morgan.
Yes.
I'm seeing you guys back together. You know, just dropping those timelines down to tomorrow. Yeah. Back together.
I agree with you. Wow, let me just take a breath. I might take a breath here in a second. Wow, that was powerful with Honey Borden. I don't know if you saw the end of that show, but man, I've never seen anything like that in terms of light language or transmission or whatever you want to call it. In terms of the light language, I mean.
Yeah.
It was powerful, very powerful blessing. A lot like your blessing that you gave us last time. Okay, just a different style.
Yeah. It's all towards the one.
That's right. We'll roll the show out in just a second. Let me say hello to Elaine Leonard, Nancy Hodges, 12 others I can't see, Andrew Rollins, Rita Gullivison, Trudy West, Mary Walton Robinson, Josie Rose, Cricket Holden, Axel Simpson, Renee Daniels, Eve Marie Dell, Missy Divine Prophecies, new viewer, welcome. Marcy Baker, Michelle Good, Michael Van Patten, the creative genius at Soulogy. So I just want to say it's a great honor to have you guys back. I was really pleased. The calendar just said Nicky Hamid, and when I saw the ad, I was like, yeah, this is good. We need this. The world needs to be exposed to this energy that you guys carry together. So thank you for sharing space with us again today and honoring us with your presence. I probably will take a breath and hand it over to you at some point and go get some water and to the little boys' room. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thanks, Todd.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, the sound of silence.
It's a good frequency to take in. I'm just taking you in. I'm just taking you guys in.
Yeah.
It's there's been it was I don't care who you were. Somebody said to me yesterday, well, unless you're like a very balanced divine masculine, you went through this, you went through that. I said, well, not if you were Nicky Hamid and you woke up in 1975. But there was a lot of this was an intense month.
Yes.
Morgan called it a tricky month. But a couple of days ago, everything seemed to lift. And as I sit here in this space with you, I can feel the expansion of both my hearts. And I know I'm not alone.
Yeah, so we're not. We're in this together. And it's beautiful. Even though we have to have our own space and we're in our own hologram, it's like we can't be alone. It just doesn't make any sense anymore to be disconnected. Doesn't.
No. It doesn't fit. It doesn't even work. It's like you don't even have to. I don't know how it works for everybody else, but God, it's like that's why I was asking the question yesterday when who was it? I can't remember. Courtney Beck, who channels Krishna. And in her channeling, it was a blessing from Krishna. And he was talking about this time and talking about who we were, the valiant souls, and also talking about how we'll see some stuff that's pretty, from a human perspective, dark or intense or whatever, like natural catastrophes or whatever. But you know, we're on the other side of this. There's another side to that, and that's that side that's a straight offense, straight embracement of our own divinity, and not even looking that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's kind of smooth riding on the waves. Smooth, yeah, it's like hanging 10, but the waves are pretty fierce, and you've got to watch your step.
You better believe it.
Yeah, that's right. But I don't know why, so I had to follow it when we came on. I got the picture of Glynne's mother and my mother, and so I thought, well, that's a bit of the energy of what we're to do today. I don't know where it's going. We never know, do we? But our mothers, we both had mothers who were theosophists. Theosophy is the comparative study of religion, philosophy, and science. So we both grew up with that, or grew up with mothers who had that. My mother was very, very well read, and rebel. She denounced Catholicism, and she was a searcher and an independent woman. But it's this spirit that was here in the late 1800s. You know, they brought out what they called the ancient wisdom, and they were exploring and planting seeds. And I see so many of the seeds and the codes that people are talking about now. I can see the truth in what was brought then. And perhaps they didn't have an understanding of it in the same way we do, because over the years, we've started unpacking it. You know, unpacking the truths, unpacking the codes that they laid. And that's what I see now from our life, that we've had lots of experience. We had the background which said anything goes. That's what theosophy gave to me anyway. Similar to you? It's like everything is possible. All the realities people are talking about, all the experiences, it was all fair game. And so we came with that, and that's kind of the groundwork. Now you come to the age of Aquarius, and what are the characteristics of the Aquarian? Freedom. I want to be free, you know, free will. It's unity, brotherhood, sisterhood. That's another key. Another one is knowledge. It's no longer belief. Piscean was belief. Now it's knowing, and it's like I don't want to read about these things in the newspaper or in a book. I want to be there. I want to be on the leading edge, and I want to experience it. You know, and so all those truths that have been there since ancient time have been hidden in plain view. Now we have the spirit to unpack it.
Yeah. Well,
and the codes are coming in. If we bring in the light of creation, the highest light that we can bring in to our bodies, the codes come with it. The energy, the waves that can unlock those codes, and we can find answers in everything. You know, we can find it in the plants, we can find it in the elementals, we can find it in the sky, we can find it with the star family, we can find it with each other in our relationships. It's in every moment. And all the codes are there, and they're all in our field.
You said something a second ago, and I lost it, but I'll try to explain it. And what you're saying overall, when I look at it, this is what I'm seeing. So what I'm saying is that, like on the last show, Honey Borden knows her role. I think that's part of this awareness, this expanded awareness. what are we exactly? There is something to our soul that is unique that we offer something. And people are stepping into these roles, which you've been doing for years, the both of you. And it's in that power, that statement, that outward external expression of this internal knowing that you're talking about, that gnosis. And in human terms, to me, it's like watching these people, and like you in this moment right now, both of you, stepping in an expanded level of who you are, what you're a part of. To me, that's like, I don't know, it's like an infinity sign. I see these people doing this more and more every day, especially over the last couple of days. And it's like an infinity sign, and you're both receiving and giving in equanimity. You know what I mean? It's just like,
yeah.
It's like, it's incredible. I would actually have to say it's the Trinity, but that reminds me of the infinity sign and the way it flows 50-50.
Well, yeah, Trinity, because there's always the point in between, the gap. You call it the gap, don't you? Yeah, it's in the gap between. I call it the still point. It's the point of crossover, and that is the place too. So there's this and that, and neither this nor that, but there is this in between. There's all of it. You know, it's like we can't go wrong. There's right and wrong, but you can't go wrong. Because if you choose the so-called wrong path, you've learned so much from it, so it's right.
That's right. There is. It's that paradox.
Yeah.
It's that paradox where I was talking to someone yesterday about it, and because everybody has been talking about losing all these identities and like these deaths that occurred, especially during this Mercury retrograde and the supermoon and all that, the equinox and all that. So on one hand, you let go. I let go of all of Todd, right? Mm-hmm. Every single thing. And then on the other end of the spectrum in the paradox, and we talked about this last time, but I'm only Todd one time. And Todd is a divine, eternal soul, period. I just happen to be in a physical body. So it's crazy, but the parallels, the extremes of the polarities are paralleling, and they're both true. It's weird.
Yeah, that's right. I always talk about I see myself as this Nicky fellow that I created. And I can be him, and I can see through the eyes of this Nicky fellow, but there's so much more. There's so much more. It doesn't need voicing. It just is. And we open to that. We open to all that, and just enjoy being this Nicky fellow. That's
a really good description. I can feel that. That's what I felt. I feel like this higher self stepped into me 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, and then all this not chaos, but all this incredible energy swirling around during the month. I maintained my balance pretty good, and but it was like you had to be like on your toes all the time, right? But yeah, so it's like you created the character, and you're looking through these eyes, and you can look through his eyes, or you can look from the eyes. You know what I mean? And both of them are okay. Both of them are okay.
Yeah. And this is where the self-love comes from, because people say, are told, love yourself. But that's still kind of mechanical. It's like trying to look at yourself, say, through the mirror, and love that image you see. But when I think of this Nicky fellow and all the things he does, and the way he trips up and the way he bangs into things and his clumsiness and so on, I just love him. I just love him, and how can I love him? Because I am love.
Yeah. So Glynne Rae. So how do you? No. I got this. I started seeing you through Glynne Rae's eyes when you're saying bumping into stuff and this and that. But staying on the subject, my original question was going to be, what do you guys talk about when you lay in bed at night? You guys must be like way out in the cosmos and stuff. But Glynne Rae, so like I'll go to you first. Knowing that it is our hologram, okay, that it's our hologram. How do you view Nicky in that? How does that work? What's your perspective on?
I think a carer, a full-time carer. picking up the bits and pieces. You know, we went to, he was speaking at a conference once, and it was a few hours away from home, and we go there, and we went to the motel first of all, and so he's getting himself all dressed up and that, a suit and what have you. He didn't have his pants belt, did he? And of course, he puts his arms up, he waves his arms, his pants fall down. So he runs out to the car, and the only thing we had in the car was some yellow cord. Right. So he brings that yellow cord in. You can't. The moment you put your arms up, everyone's going to see this yellow cord, you know, tied up with a knot in front of you. I thought, what am I going to do? And like, I'm pretty good at sort of coming up with things, down to earth things. I had my camera there. My camera case had a belt on. That belt came off. I tied it on him, got it up, and it looked absolutely perfect. It was like, whew. And he walked on the stage with about 2 seconds to spare, you know, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, those pants could have fallen down any moment. So, yeah, but no, we have both sides of things, you know. It was, well, he cares for me as well, I must say, very much so. But, yeah, I often hear a sudden yell and he's kicked his toe or something, and it's like, oh no, what have you done now? Or on the computer he's doing something, and then it's like, oh no, and it's like, oh no, you know, my heart sort of misses a beat. Now, what have you done now? You know?
This sounds very familiar to me. It sounds very familiar to me.
You know, you've got when we go out and that, yeah, it's, you know, out in the sharing and that's really good. And we just move from one thing and flow in and out and that. But there's that side very much so. But there's still the caring, you know, the physical caring as well. Yeah. Because you're in a knowing, well, okay, you know, we are these beings here in this body at this time. And the body also needs to be cared for. So, it's bringing that balance, because, you know, if he does go and break a leg or something like that and out of action, well, you know, he is out of action. So it's like keeping him in action, keeping him going. But yeah, but it's having that balance with everything, you know.
And what do we talk about? Todd's also saying, you know, do we expand off into the universe?
Yeah, and well, sometimes things that have happened, or you know, something I've come across, and it's like, I don't quite get that. What is it? And so I'll ask Nicky, and then because he's always got plenty of, you know, a full explanation of things, and then, but you know, if I still don't totally agree, I'll say, well, I don't think that's quite so. You know, this is how I see it, and so, but it always comes out to an understanding for both, doesn't it? There's no,
One of the things is, you know, Glynne is kind of private. She does a lot of her so-called work is undercover, and that's the way she likes it. And she goes off and does her own thing, and she can do some amazing things to me. So we get a lot of opportunity to share our different experiences, because we kind of live parallel. A lot of our life is parallel, even though we're in the same house at the same time. We're in our own holograms, as it were, doing so we're always sharing those things. For me, I'll speak for me, what I get is when she's sharing things, and it can be way out things. When she's speaking them, I get to experience them, not exactly how she does, but I get my expansion through her sharing, because she's sharing that energy, and we get that. And that is kind of, that is indescribable, you know. So
I can totally relate to that with that's the same energy as Morgan and I.
It's having that respect for each other, and you've got a lot, very much, you know, the same, but remembering we both come from different places, different timelines, and that, so we've had these other different experiences as well, that I might have had experiences that Nicky hasn't had, and so I have the feeling there, and so we can sort of feed each other on but there has been some pretty strange things happening lately, and that, you know, and with me it usually happens, or when I'm out and it's sort of out of the blue, and next minute I'm into doing something. Yeah, I'm just trying, but I don't always hold it. That's the thing. I have the images.
Plants. The plants, is it?
Yeah, no, I can't really talk about that one at the moment because
Again, it'll come.
There's been
so
a couple.
You know, I think what I was trying to get to, because I just realized it was what's it like from your perspective, each perspective. It's almost like, to me, as I observe it, that you've chosen, because we can say it's all me. This is all me. Even Morgan it's all me. It's not anything else. It's just me. And to me, that takes something away from it. I'm trying to figure this thing out. So it's almost like two people choose to share a hologram. And then it becomes, that third energy becomes, comes to the surface, and it becomes that creative flow of the universe. I don't know. What's your perspective? That's what I meant by, yeah.
Yeah, just say, I think that I have seen it with a lot of men like Nicky being out in front, and different ones I know. There's two other couples I know, older couples, and both the men are very well known out there. And the wives are, hardly seen or known of unless you know them personally and that. But these wives are really amazing people. They're down to earth, but they have a lot of sight, a lot of wisdom. And it's like, and this will be with Morgan too. It's like we're a power source behind our man. We know we stand there strong. And the energy, they can always tap into it if they feel like, they're weakening or losing or just need a bit of energy. They just know. It's a knowing that, okay, it's more than a human thing, I feel, very much so. Very much. And one day we used to hold big meetings where we used to be. Had a big meeting one day, and there's a lot of, basically all women there, and they're all hanging on Nicky, wanting to be on Nicky, and I just preparing food and around about, and Morgan will probably know this really well too. And then one of the ladies said to me, "How do you deal with this, Glynne? All these women always wanting Nicky's attention and all over him." And I said, "Well, it's no problem to me." And they said, "Yeah, well, what when they come on to him?" I said, "Well, I'm always at the finishing line ready to resuscitate Nicky because he's had to run so fast." And they just looked at me, and I said, "Well," and the thing, it comes to knowing, it's like my deep inner knowing. I know Nicky. I know, it's like without knowing, but I know every aspect of him, and this will be like Morgan as well. It'll be, because let's face it, and you must get it too, all these women who, wanting your attention, and it's very noticeable, when you're in this situation, and when, you've got someone who's prominent out there. And
it can operate the other way too, the other way around too, can't it?
And sometimes you men can't quite see what's happening, and it needs that wifely say, "Hey, listen, there's a little bit of flickering energy coming through on this one. Just watch this." But
you're so right about that.
So all up to you, Morgan. It's and it's a wonderful journey walking with you, men. But it's not always easy, But we do the groundwork because it's important that you guys are out there doing what you've come to do. And we're just as important in this, there's no, he's a lot better than me, or I'm a lot better. There's none of that whatsoever. I feel a sense of, you can even say, it's a sense of honor to be walking at his side and on this journey. And it's like a contract we took on that, regardless of all the physical things and the family things and everything else that comes at you, or that there is this bond within. We know we're here at this time for bringing in to these energies and being here for those, who are in need and who need the help to hang in here and keep on going on their journey.
And the other side, go on.
No, I was going to say, this is great wisdom. I mean, thank you for sharing it. But that, it's because you really have those two types of energies, and it's a little bit uncomfortable, the attention. You know, I mean, if I look at my own situation or my own life experience, there's a tremendous amount of humility that the universe made me learn first. And when I woke up for 2 years, walking the streets, and I learned something. I learned this space, and I can't really put words into it. And so, yeah, it is about the mission, and it is about the purpose. And then you bring in the partner, and it becomes a colossal energy. You know, it grows, expands exponentially. Everything is expanded so hugely. So if I look at like some of the things I go through, I'm like, I don't even want the attention. But you have to learn to receive it in order to be equalized with the universe. You have to be willing to receive what you give, and so on. But I admire totally, I always have my whole life, men, women, didn't matter, those who serve quietly, those who serve, you know, without needing anything back. And so many, particularly women, have stepped up this year on Soul Speaks 5D to tell their story as recent as yesterday, 2 of them. And it's incredible that they, like you said about Glynne Rae, doing all this work, preferring not to be seen. It's still, if not even more impactful than anything that's, you know, in front of a camera or on the world stage or whatever. So
absolutely, yeah, I think so.
We see a lot of women, younger ones, you know, they'll look at your wife and that's, well, why is he with her? You know, look at me, I'm in better shape, I'm this, I'm that, and you know, and so the wife can get a tremendous lot of put downs in a lot of ways, and that, you know, we have the ability of laughing off or shrugging off, you know, well, it's the person's problem, not ours, that are doing this, but
exactly. Yeah.
So it's, but the big thing is the knowing of each other, you know, and you know you're 100% together, and that just everything else flows away from that.
That's absolutely right.
I think the reverse in the two, because of the changes and everything, and how the feminine is taking her place rightfully. I don't say it's rising above, it's taking her place, and men, the male is learning his place. That for men, there are slightly other issues, I think, in allowing not allowing, but seeing their spouse rise and become famous or become popular, become out there. We're seeing this much, much more, of course. And a partner, a man, often has difficulty assimilating the whole idea that I don't have to be the one out there. You know, it comes from the breadwinner and all the rest of it. I don't have to be, and she can be popular and have the same attention on her that you or I might get from the opposite sex, without its feeling still and knowing the security of their own partnership knowing. They go through, you know, they have to deal with it, deal with the same issue, but they probably deal with it slightly differently. But it's the same feeling, because we're seeing it more and more as women take their rightful place out there.
That's right.
And I get this picture, and this goes back to the ancient wisdom. It goes back to the beginning times when men and women came together in their truth ceremonies. And the way it's always been shown to me, I'm talking about the secret societies, and before they needed to be secret, the temples and so on, the men would step forward and it's like, hold the space. And I see it as men stepping forward in the circle and holding the space, not saying a great deal, but holding the space. Then they stepped back and the women all came forward and they performed the ceremonies and did the actions and everything, and created, if you like. And the men stood back silently, totally with them, but totally silently. And I think that that dance is coming more. And it's not just coming more between partners, it's coming more in me. That when I'm expressing, I'm feeling my feminine. Yeah. I'm feeling the divine mother more than I do the divine father in me. Yeah. But when I'm standing tall and standing strong and holding the space for others, I feel man. I feel man.
Yeah. I can relate to that. And I think what we're actually witnessing, because there's two parts to it, you know, and everything is a parallel mirror, you know, so the suppression of that energy, the feminine energy, the goddess energy, has created a whole pattern in all of our experiences, in all aspects of our experience. Part of what's happening is that masculine energy is catching the wave that you're describing from a masculine perspective, which is there's a time to hold space. There's a time to honor who really runs the show, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and what you described, Glynne Rae was describing about the dynamics, you know, on the human level of all these women, and you know, hey, you know, I know where I stand. I know who I am. This is how it works. This is how it works. The goddess energy is a nurturing energy. It is a formidable power that doesn't need anyone to say anything to it. And that's where the masculine goes. I think that's what is coming to the surface in the social arena, is that governments, religions, whatever it is going to acknowledge that every one of those, I hate to put it this way, every one of those men has that rock. And on a collective level, it begins to be recognized, experienced, and expanded, because she's given that that space that she actually has been holding and always will be, you know. So I think that's going to be a huge impact, like on the systems of the world, the governments, the countries, and such. I think I saw the other day, was it New Zealand?
Yeah,
New Zealand's got. Oh, you're in New Zealand. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yes.
That young late 30ish, early 40ish. I mean, all you have to do is look at her energy and go, whoa, wow. I mean,
and her husband is 100% with her partner, and he's looking after their baby girl, bringing the baby girl up while she's doing this working, and she's amazing. She's incredible. She's I
saw a 2-minute interview that she did, and I was just blown away. I was like, oh my God, you need to tell me there's a country in the world that actually has done this? Wow.
And the whole country, I mean, if you went back at the items and see the compassion, whole, you know, after that slaughtering, there was hardly a word of vendetta or it was all about the compassion, not just for those who lost people, but for all the immigrants in the country of all kinds. The country rose up to support all the immigrants and even the people who've been here for a couple of generations of different races and so on. The country all up for them.
It was a statement. It was a statement from the higher self perspective.
And it goes back. Yeah, and it goes back to what you said. If you, you know, on this men being forward and then standing back, and the women coming and, if you like, you're doing the creating. I think this is the way governments will have to go, because if you think about, I mean, Jacinta is the Prime Minister. She's talking about welfare, you know, our health, the happiness of our society, but depends on the welfare of the people, right?
Yeah.
And we know this. We know this. So if you think of where's the real welfare being controlled, as it were, it's in all the roles that women take, in nursing, in teaching, and so on, etc., etc. So it's the feminine who you can have men in the power politics in the halls of structure, but the real welfare comes from a government base that is primarily reflects the energy of the feminine.
Absolutely. You know, it's like in the American Indian culture, and I don't know if it was across the board, but I know it was in a significant number of them. And that is, they had their chiefs. They had the war chief and the head chief and the medicine chief, but every decision went to a council of the grandmothers.
Yeah.
So everything had to be passed through, the way I see it, it's like the heart.
Yeah.
You know, passed through the heart, the untainted heart of creation, because that's what the feminine energy is.
Yeah, right.
Show me an offspring in the world, in the universe, that a masculine gives birth.
Yeah,
It doesn't
you're
matter.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I did a long journey many years ago in India. It was a journey of faith and intuition, and I ended up seeing a lot of families, you know, Indian families, and India is not patriarchal at all. It's the matriarch. Really? It's the mother who rules the family. What she says goes. Absolutely. But she's not speaking out there. The man's speaking out. But watch him change when his wife speaks.
Well, you know what? I mean, they might be, well, okay, so they might be more culturally open about it. And I think that's what, but the truth is it runs that way everywhere. I don't care who it is. And I remember, I think I might have told you this story, but I remember 7 years ago or so when I was waking up, having these conversations with Father God, right? Yeah. So I'm homeless, I'm in a park somewhere, and I remember this very explicitly. And I said, and I'm trying to figure out, why am I going through all this and you're telling me I'm all that, right? So I sat down and on this bench and I closed my eyes and I called him up. And I was on this hill. It was nighttime, there was a moon out, and I'm talking about in the third eye. And I'm going up the hill and there's a little cabin, you know, like an old log cabin. And Father God, I was like, Father God, I need to talk to you right now. And he sticks his head out, and I could just swear there was like a little, what do they call them, those little hats they wear to bed with the little. And so I said, hey, man, can you give me some guidance tonight? I'm hurting, or whatever the case was. I don't remember the exact conversation. And then I heard, who's that? And I said, hey, you didn't tell me you had a wife. You didn't tell me there was a mother goddess. And so that's the energy of that whole exchange. Was he was like, shh, be quiet. You know, it's like everything runs through her. And that her is in us. That's hers in every man, too. I mean, it's not like, and I think to your point about the governments is that it is that energy that runs the show. In the true reality, in the truth, in the love.
Yeah, it must. Yeah. Well, it's like Glynne. I just marvel at seeing her, you know, living with somebody who, when other people are around, and even when they're not around, when they're in trouble, how she not just can think of them, but she has solutions, you know, that can help them, and she's in there, and she can be doing several things at once when there are people in, you know, and we talk laughingly about multitasking. Women can, men can't, but it's just that capacity of mother, to be able to be present in so many ways, so naturally, and you know. If you're living with someone, I won't call you man or woman, if you're living with someone who can do that all the time, how else can I be anything but awed by her? By her.
Exactly.
Well, I came into it was a poor family, and I was the last one in the family. And it was, to me, it wasn't a struggle as such. I wasn't good at school. I didn't enjoy school very much at all, but I've always been a very visual learner. And so I sort of watched what people did, how they did it, who they were, the way they spoke, and took the best of what I saw and the basic survival skills and things like that. And I think this now is, I've got like a huge file, I think, inside my head, you know, and it's like if something props up, it's like, hang on a second, it's like, yeah, file. This is the sort of image I get. And, you know, I'm really, really grateful. I've been, a solo parent with 3 kids and struggling from day to day, you know, and I've been through so many of those things that we, you know, all of us have been through. And I remember going with my mum once she used to be in natural healing groups and various things as well. And she took me to meet this old couple, friends of hers. They were in their 90s. These two had the utmost respect for each other. When we arrived, he welcomed us and he says to his wife, "Oh, my dear, you know, your friends are here." And he brought us in and he said, "You sit down there. Now, can I get you tea or coffee?" And he said to his wife, "Now, you just stay there and I'll do this." And then she was saying to him, "Is there anything I can do for you, dear?" No. But the whole vibration, just their interaction was just something that was so profound. And I thought, there is that sort of relationship out there, you know, it can be. And yet all around I saw, and once I was divorced and on my own, and then friends I had, you know, go to their place or that. And then I started becoming, to the wives, they were looking at me sideways as if, you know, if I said to their husband, "Oh, g'day, how are you?" Like, you know, you used to in the past. And it's like, "What are you touching him for?" What? And it's like, "Oh, sorry." And it made a big change, you know, and so I became, right, you know, you don't look at any friends, even, you know, males, friends or that, without all this happening around. And it was like, this isn't the way it should be. And so, and then down the line, you see, Nicky came into my life. And so we've been able to create and see in our own way, you know, what I saw, that divine love that was there with that couple. They were absolutely, I've never seen another couple like it. They were absolutely just so loving and so beautiful with everything about them. And so it's, yeah. So, but that's how I've learned, and seeing people's actions and I feel, you know, if people would be themselves so much more, you know, everybody's got gifts in some way, shape or form. And so many have been, you know, so very, very spiritual, and that's what they show in that. But they don't show the other side, you know, when they're having a bad day and they feel like, oh, in a bad mood, and they feel like swearing or kicking at something or whatever, you know, but it's all part of this being human. And it sort of balances us out. You know, I used to think sometimes we're like the old cars, you know, the exhaust, if you were just driving around town a lot, the car would get sort of sluggish and that, and you'd take it out in the countryside for a jolly good run, you know, open her up and blow it all out and that, and she'd go so much better. And so
let it all out.
Let it all out. Yeah. Born in 1945, and I've got a couple of other friends. I call us the old 45ers, the old Model Ts. We just keep on going, right on going.
I was thinking about writing a post after observing. It was primarily yesterday because there was 3 Divine Feminine on yesterday, I believe, and I was watching like the energy of their stories and just I don't know how to explain it, but from the chair I sit in and what I do. And I realize part of this is through Morgan and a sisterhood she has in South Australia that I have, you know, some, I've been, you know, told enough about it to understand what's happening. And what comes to me and what I'm trying to say is this energy that is reemerging, this feminine energy that's reemerging on the earth. In the physical, there is a quiet, deliberate, steady grid of sisters. And what I'm observing is each one of them has this capacity to awaken or open up the healer, the medicine woman in their sisters. And it's like, I've heard several of them say it. I work with, these special type of people and basically healers. I awaken them to what they really are. And I'm seeing that not just with my experience with Morgan, but other women around the world that light each other up. And it's not happening with this really loud explanation in social media or whatever. It's happening in that same frequency of spiritual confidence, to the point that there's no question. They have no second guessing or apprehension. It's just happening. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
We are spiritual beings, and if you can take that in, that we are spiritual beings, and so stop judging yourself too, whether you should or shouldn't. Just be. Just let things unfold around you.
Yeah, go on. Have you finished?
Yep.
No, I see it. That when you come together, like you and I and Glynne are here together, there's always this, we'll call it download, but it's like we touch heads. We touch, our foreheads touch. And when they touch, there's a mutual download. And then whatever we're aligned to, whatever we're sensitive to, whatever direction our soul purpose is, it finds the code that in that download that takes them further. So when you get those sisters together, and if they have that connection, that sensitivity, that common purpose, as it were, with their own individual expression of that common purpose, they mutual download. And you don't have to be in physical presence for that thing to occur. There's a mutual download, and the codes are ready, if you like, to be activated according to how much intent and longing you have to live your purpose.
Yeah.
And your purpose comes from within, and it's not being a healer. Your purpose is to be more of who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And and the soul knows. The soul you are knows. And so we just don't have to worry about it. The opportunity's going to come.
Yeah. So back to, I want to go back to the three phrases for a third time, because I'm trying to get your perspective, each one of your perspectives, on what you actually contain and have and hold, what you, Glynne Rae, observed in that couple, because that's what we observe of you guys. And what I'm trying to say is, it's almost like there's a shared hologram. So I would pose the question one last time this way. What's the difference, Glynne Rae? What's the difference? I mean, you have an external perspective. Everything is outside of you. Nicky, in that regard, if he's outside of you, what is the difference in the external of Nicky versus all the other external?
I'm just thinking of what, that we were at a big dinner party when we were in Hong Kong, and it was all professors and what have you. And there was one of the Chinese professors there, a lady, she's sitting there, and she just kept staring at us all night, just stared. And in the end, there was quite an intense discussion going on amongst these guys. And all of a sudden, at the top of her voice, she said, "Those two don't only love each other, they like each other." And the whole table went silent, and everyone looked at us. It was
puzzling.
And she had been puzzling all night long what it was. And it was quite a funny statement, but it was quite profound too, that, the physical love, can fluctuate up and down. Sometimes you can hate them, sometimes you can love them, and it's very sort of fickle in a lot of ways. But the divine love is something that is so much deeper. But we do actually like each other as well. you know. And so I think it's feeling wise and what have you, it comes in on every aspect. You know, there's something different with Nicky, and you have a room full of men. Nicky is different to me. His, you know, his energy and everything. And if I was said, you know, someone said, okay, you can have any man you'd like here, who would you like it be? No, sorry, no, doesn't do anything to me. But Nicky, you know, it's just, and then it's just the blending, just the being compatible, and I think, and it goes into the total trust and the knowing as well, and it goes so far, way back that yeah, I'd very much like to know one day just where what. But anyway, yeah,
I like that. I like that.
Has Todd gone?
Yeah.
So he's dropped off there.
Which I don't know whether we're on or not. I think we are.
I think we're still on. We better just wait till he comes on. But so, what do you think then on that?
Well, I like that. You know, that illustration. We don't just love each other; we like each other, and that like is like there's a permanent attraction, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a permanent, and we don't have to try to do it. It's just there. It's just there, and it was there from the start. And we had to unpack it. That was all.
Yeah, that's the tough part. I got knocked off again. I don't know what's happened. This is 5 shows in a row.
Were we still on?
Yeah, you were on. Yeah, I was watching you. I was watching you on the phone. I thought that you were frozen and I was on, and then I looked at the phone and it was the other way around. So I'm here talking to the audience and there's nobody hearing me. Yeah, that was a really, really, and you know what the crazy thing is, these last 5 shows, it's happened every time. It has been at a point where the frequency is just raising. As she was talking about that and explaining all that, and just the energy just hit. I was like, wow, and then it went off. So,
yeah.
So I mean, he could be sitting in the garden and grubby as can be, covered in dirt, playing, you know, with planting or singing away as he goes or something, you know, and I'll look out and see him and my heart just bursts, you know, and then I can see him standing up giving a talk or that, and my heart goes, wow, you know, and it just happens, you know. It's
and that happens.
I don't even think about it, actually. You know,
it's just part of it. It's more than pride, but pride is part of it. You know, it's like, wow, am I so lucky? To know this, to know this person, let alone be a partner, you know, and live together. That comes without thinking. You know, it's just there. But there was one element when you originally asked this question, because I suddenly got, this is me, I go way out, and I got, you know, that there's here this planet Earth and solar system on the outskirts of the galaxy, and it's in a special place because galaxies have overlay of each other. So one of the reasons why Earth is so attractive to all the galactics and so on is because you have a crossover of a number of other galaxies and star systems and so on. And there's this overlay. So when you come to that question of the hologram, I'm creating my hologram, but there are versions of it that I'm allowing in of other people's holograms, which don't supplant it, but they can influence it if I allow. They can influence it. There's a sort of an overlay that I can bring in and make part of my hologram. Yeah. And that's the other person, and that's the other people, and that's the other collectives or whatever. Yeah. And then that reflection becomes a much deeper relationship in my hologram.
Yeah. Yeah, and
But,
you know,
yeah.
the reason I was asking is, well, just I don't know, it just came to me, but what had come to me was 7 years ago when I first woke up, I was walking across a soccer field at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and that was the first really, or maybe second really type of apparition type of experience I had. And so I was walking through this field, and a dome, long story short, a dome appeared over me, like with whitish gold ley lines or longitude latitude lines or whatever you call it. It was a dome. And so I sat there and I got a transmission. But later the universe would show me that we each had a dome. And this was just the way it explained it to me. And then what would happen is two domes would share space, you know, like the curve would come down of the arc, and they would share this space. And then it went like into multiplicity in all directions, multidimensionality type of thing, where it wasn't just, you know, north and south and east and west. But so the way you're explaining it is the way I'm seeing it now, what I saw. So yeah, that's because there is a choice of some kind. There is a choice, regardless of whatever elements of predestiny we might have had, or pre-planning. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, for me, the beauty when Glynne has had an experience and been way out there, I can't have the same experience as her because it's hers, right? And I have my point of view and she has hers. However, when she shares it, because there's this mutual sharing of codes, if you like, in our hologram, in one way of explaining it, then I can take that experience that she's sharing and it has a path for me.
Yes.
So I can go places where she's been, but I will see it from my point of view.
Yes. And that code exchange, I think, obviously works both ways. I think it's more obvious because the feminine energy is coming from a space of suppression and minority. Let's put it that way, inequality, and so it's coming up. That's a very noticeable thing. You know, that's very noticeable. I think in the paradox, you know, in the polarity of it, that maybe the masculine energy is on the other side of that veil. You don't see it as because we weren't looking at the true masculine energy in our physical line of vision. We were looking at this falsely empowered masculine energy that was dominant.
If we take what you're saying, then by the same token, the man will feel the pressure and the very real pressure to come down.
Absolutely.
To come down from his perch, right? And and thus you see so much resistance in men because, you know, they feel they're losing who they are by coming down off their perch. But it has to happen, not just from an internal point of view, but from a mutual sharing point of view. It has to happen. We have to stand together as pillars in of the temple, side by side. Absolutely. And
no doubt.
So the ups and downs that people are experiencing in relationship are very much a part of that. Coming down to size, sizing up to size.
Yeah, I think there are definitely, you know, there's forerunners or whatever you want to call it, doorbusters in many different aspects of our missions, right? In our roles. But I will say this, and another big props to y'all, is that with these divine unions, it isn't all just peaches and cream, because like everything else, those unions are anchoring in this energy as you've described so eloquently. And that's not easy on the human being sometimes.
Not.
So rule of the road, the ascension is very personal, but don't take anything personal. That's the one I keep telling myself.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a good one, Todd. That's good.
Glynne knows how to shave off those identities that I have to let go.
Yeah.
She knows how to shave it off.
It's been a really interesting month observing the impact of the true divine masculine energy on men and women. Mm-hmm. It's been a really interesting thing because I've actually, and I said this yesterday, I've seen the masculine rising in women. Now, if I look back in retrospect, I've seen the falsely empowered or wounded masculine in men and women. You see it. We've all seen it. But to see the doer rising in these women, the owning it thing, oh my God, it's incredible. It's incredible. It's not just the men that you're looking at going, hey, way to go, but these women, it's like totally expanding exponentially the divine feminine frequency itself.
Right. I have to say, whatever we've been talking about is not it.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. I'm glad you brought us back home. I'm glad you brought us back home.
Much more. It's so much more.
That's it. That's not it. Yes.
And it's
that's
so
right.
simple. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And what did you used to end your lectures with? After saying that's not it, what was that?
Netty.
Netty,
which was the Indian saying. When they were talking about the universe or anything really important and deep, they'd always, or God or whatever, they'd always say at the end, Netty, which means not this, not that. Whatever we've spoken about, it can't be it. Because it's got to be so much more than words. So we can use words, we play with them, and then we say at the end, Netty.
Yeah, just like what? Yeah. It's like you put on this, like I can just see like a big chalkboard, and you put on this, crazy, wild Einsteinian mathematical equation with like 17 lines, and then you just take an eraser and just you just wipe it off and say class is over.
Yeah,
isn't that how the ascension goes? Though we wake up tomorrow and there's a new scale of life. Period. There's a new scale of life in all directions, and from a quantum perspective.
Except you be as little children who are blank, so they can pretend and create anything in that moment, and the imagination can be wild. And except you be as little children, you cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. You cannot expand. You cannot expand into what people are saying 5D and so on to more. You can't. Yeah, we have to be. We have to be. See, my father had a poem. I think you'll like it. I love it. See the happy moron. He doesn't give a damn. I wish I were a moron. By God, perhaps I am.
I love that, man. That was a great one. What do they call those? Are those limericks? That, you know what that is? You know what that is? Is the energy of what do they call it? When I woke up 7 years ago, I mean, one of the aspects that spoke to me, taught me chiasmus. If you look it up, I think it's CHIAMIS, and it's a poetic. It's a, what did they say it was? It was a semantical, geometric arrangement of words, both sound of words and spelling of words. And it worked that way. Like you would say the cat is brown and the brown is the cat. So everything is like yin yang. And that's what that was. That sounds like a limerick. I think that's how they go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes, so it is back to silence. Do you want to say something?
No.
Oh, she's very quiet today, isn't she?
Well, let's force the issue with her. Let's conclude it with whatever Glynne Rae would like to offer. I mean, if you have anything to say or a blessing or whatever maybe you can let us into a little bit of your very worthy and vital mission that you do in private. And
it's basically, to me, a lot of it is clearing work, okay, and releasing things either from the past or things that come up in, you can say, on the psychic side or energetic side of things. And some of the things have been, well, like with the earth healing, have been left overlooked, where, you know, there's so much happened on this planet, and the healing, the ascension that's all happening. It's not just for the folk, it's right down, it's for the whole earth. And all the bloodshed and everything that's happened over centuries and centuries, this is what's all coming out, all of it, you know. And I also really feel that a lot of these who are going through the drug addiction and everything like this too, is their timelines being cleared. All that's happened right now is coming out through. And, you know, so many break free of it, you know, in their 30s, 40s or whatever, and go on to do wonderful work in that. And they've had all the experience of, you know, going through these things, and have been able to be a great value to others in that as well. So there's a tremendous lot of things happening on so many levels on the planet. There really, really is. And Spirit just like takes me into something unexpectedly, but I've learned to now, okay, just accept it. And then I just get shown what, how to do, and I just follow the lead and do it. And it might take half an hour, it might take an hour, it might take 5 minutes or what. Sometimes just when I'm, you know, out in a shop, I just happen to walk into somebody's energy, and it's like, what the heck is this, you know? And then I just go into the what I'm guided to do. So it's actually quite hard to explain, you know, ending just what's what. But it has been quite a lot, and it that's been happening this last month, that's for sure. But it's I think we're moving at such a rate now, and it's really a blessing that these things are coming out to be cleared away, because you can see, you know, the light is like water. Water will run and find the tiniest little crack or that and can penetrate through anything. And this is what's happening with this great influx of light that's coming into the planet and affecting everybody. And it's just, you know, all I can say is just love the divine self you're here, because you're doing a wonderful job. Everybody is here at this time, bringing their essence, bringing their presence, even if they don't know what's within them. They all hold a crucial part of this. And so, but I'll just let Nicky finish up with his quantum.
Oh yeah, I wanted to do a plug. Have we finished that?
Yeah. You go on, because that's important. Time's getting on.
Every month.
Thank you, Glynne Rae.
Yeah.
I'll try and make more sense one day of it all. When
I
can make
thought
sense.
it was an excellent explanation.
Yeah. Every month for the last 5 years, on the 1st of each month at 12 p.m. wherever you are in the world, 12 p.m. the 1st of each month, we hold a quantum healing moment. That is 5 to 10 minutes of people sitting, and we sit and we connect with the World Wide Web of love. And if people want healing, they can sit for healing. And if people want to give and connect up their love, they can. This has been worldwide, and we're now on, I think, 60 months we've been doing this. So it's available for people to connect up. And we call it the quantum healing moment, because it's in the quantum field, and it's accumulated. So over these 5 years, it's accumulated. It's getting stronger and stronger. There are people who drum around the world. There are people who do gongs and so on at that time, and everybody's on there, sitting in their own place, but connecting up to that one place. So I just wanted to say, well, tomorrow it is the 60th time, and the people are welcome, and they can connect up with the page Quantum Healing Moment and see what's happening. There's not much to report, except that people can say where they come from and what, if they need some healing, what particularly they want or whatever. But just be present and connect up, because together we have this wave going around the world, you know, at 12 o'clock every first day of the month for 5 or 10 minutes. Sit and connect, or you can walk and connect. Do whatever you like. It's not. There's no set prescription of what you should do, but just an intent to connect and give our love to our beautiful, glorious planet and everyone on it.
Yeah. Hear, hear. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll drink to that. Heck yeah. That's yeah. I can just see it, like, you know, like you said, the drums and the gongs, and then whatever other frequencies, audible or not, just creating like this vibration that just has gotten louder and louder over 60 months. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Looks like I just saw somebody said happy birthday. It's Morgan. Happy birthday to Sandra Harmon Smith on April the 1st. My friend from Adelaide, South Australia, our friend. Thank you so much again. I look forward to collaborating with you two again. Glynne Rae, I think you did great, letting us into your world a little bit. And we probably need to hear more about it, and I think we will hear more about it from you and those like you. I do.
Can I just add then, Todd, just very briefly, is it's really important. So many people want changes and they beg and plead with spirit, and, you know, it's give up the begging, give up the pleading. The galactics and that are there. We've got beautiful beings coming in who so want to help us. They don't have the understanding of what it's like here on Earth. So when you connect with them, be clear, precise, where you want help, and not so much in the poor little me side, but on what's happening on Earth. And be clear and precise what's happening so that they know what energy is needed and can come in. And it just, we need to open the channels, make it clearer and more precise, simple and clear and precise to what our needs are here for this clearing the planet and bringing in their light.
Yeah, that makes total sense, because the understanding I have, or from the transmissions I've received on a personal level over the last few weeks, they don't understand emotion. They're studying our emotions.
Yeah.
You know, so what you're saying rings true, because they're not going to understand the emotion of being put into an energy of where you're on your knees praying and pleading and begging, because that's where we came from. They can't understand that because there's no reality. There's no truth to that reality. But yeah, I think that's that is very, very. I'm very much in alignment with that. I think maybe many of us are becoming more in alignment with that, and it's not a demand, but it's some type of command from the center of the universe that is our heart, saying, look, for instance, if I use myself as an example to say something like, I need this for Soulogy, so that Soulogy can fulfill its role, like Nicky said, like y'all said, everyone and everything has a piece of it. So yeah, I can see that. Thank you for sure.
So like say, Soulogy is this energy that we are putting out through the planet, and it's helping so many people. Energetically, we need the physical money that is here on Earth, and we need to make this connection or that connection, or to bring in what we need. And so just clear, precise what the needs are, and things change and really start working, because they want to help, but they can't understand on a lot of levels. So
and it's that simple thing of free will. This is a free will zone, absolutely, and they know it, and they would not break it. So we've got to ask. We've got to be specific. We have to let them know. And if we want a deeper relationship, we have to contact them and connect them and unpack the code of our communication with them.
Unwrap it. Like you said.
Unwrap it.
Well, that makes total sense, because on one hand, we know there's a telepathy. we know we can't really hide anything, you know. But you would think, we would have thought, I would have thought that they would understand the emotional part. But that's really something we're bringing to the table. And so they don't understand it. They really don't understand it. Courtney Beck was on yesterday from Australia, and she channels Krishna and 2 or 3 other essences, and she was talking about that. She was saying, you know, I'm this and that, but I still get angry, and I have to sit in this anger, and I have to sit in this sadness, or whatever the case is. And she said that when that happens, when we allow that and own that part of us, that they're actually picking that information up, picking that data, that intel, that coding up. And that's part of the function of
every communication I have had over the years, and that has been very clear, very straightforward, and I've never found spirit to take sides or anything like that. They give me a straight, clear perspective of a situation or what it's, and that's been, I really have appreciated that very much, because sometimes I hear things being said, you know, and it's like, that's not real clear channeling. It's, you know, it's like that's very earthly. The mind is coming in and playing with the channeling there. And so the vibration of it is really clear, and it just, wow, like that. And it's like, wow. Yeah. And sometimes it comes even before you've finished answering the question, you know, and it's there. And because, you know, we're dealing with very, very, very advanced, highly evolved. And so, anyway.
There was one other thing from what you said, and that was but there are other things. We are in density, and a lot of the beings and our spirit helpers, especially our guides, who are there all our life, or, you know, are there to help and serve us, and are probably bored to tears because we're not giving them enough to do because we're trying to take on things we don't need to. But I was told years ago, we don't know. For example, you have a plastic bottle. We've never experienced a plastic bottle, so we don't know what it feels like. So you can, by touching the plastic bottle and communicating it communicating it through, being receptive to it, they get to experience vicariously what plastic might feel like.
Yeah.
But they've never felt it, never experienced it.
Yeah.
So we can't assume, because they're greater beings, that they know everything.
Yeah.
They might.
Yeah. They can't know anything that's experiential.
Yeah.
Experiential. I mean, they can't. That's the part that we're bringing to the table, and that has to do with these emotions. As well. That's a great analogy that you gave us. Great real. All right, I got to get. We got 3 more shows. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful hour and a half. We got 3 more shows, and I've got one starting in 33 minutes. I need to go run up to the store and get a hamburger. I'm going to go get a hamburger because Nicky said I can eat a hamburger.
Good on you.
I love you guys.
God bless.
Thank you for sharing.
Bye.
You take care. See you.